I'm Claire Ridgway, founder of the Tudor Society and Anne Boleyn Files websites, also author of several history books, including this book that has actually inspired these daily videos, my book On This Day in Tudor History. Now, today is the 7th of January, and on this day in Tudor history, the 7th of January 1536, after taking Holy Communion and after giving her last confession and giving instructions for her burial and what should be done with her worldly goods, Catherine of Aragon died. The daughter of the famous Catholic monarchs Isabella I of Castile and Ferdinand II of Aragon, and first wife of King Henry VIII, died in what can be described as a small, dark, cold castle, banished from the royal court and separated from her beloved daughter Mary, and of course separated from her beloved husband, the man who she still saw as her husband, the man who had left her, annulled their marriage and moved on to Anne Boleyn. A very sad state of affairs. Now, Polydore Virgil, in his book Anglica Historia, which is a contemporary source, that means it was written at the time, states that Catherine of Aragon wrote a final letter to her husband Henry VIII. Now, this letter does not exist today, it has not survived, but Virgil quoted from it, and various 17th century historians quoted from his work, and it's continued today with historians quoting it today. Some historians question whether it's authentic, and it's something we really won't ever know unless it's found. A really good book on Catherine of Aragon and also her sister Juana is this one by Julia Fox, Sister Queens. And in this book, Julia Fox discusses the letter, and she, it's impossible to say whether or not Catherine did write it unless it's discovered in an archive. Then it's questionable. She says, unless it's discovered, this letter must remain a tease. But I'd actually like to read this letter to you. I've got here Agnes Strickland's The Queens of England, Volume 2, and in it she has Catherine of Aragon. This is one of my favourite books. Now, Agnes Strickland was writing in the Victorian era, and she's sometimes rather inaccurate and a bit sweeping, but we have to remember that she was writing at a time when, these contemporary sources, they weren't transcribed and digitized, they weren't easy to access, and yet she did such an amazing job, and her work is well referenced as well. So I'm just going to read from this. This is a rather old book. Let me just show you. It's got an actual inscription from 1898 from someone that it belonged to then. And what I really love is the plate that it's got there. I think that's Elizabeth Woodville. Yes, it is Elizabeth Woodville. So I'm going to read from this Catherine of Aragon's letter that she wrote to her husband Henry VIII on her deathbed. My lord and dear husband, I commend me unto you. The hour of my death draweth fast on, and my case being such, the tender love I owe you forceth me, with a few words, to put you in remembrance of the health and safeguard of your soul, which you ought to prefer before all worldly matters, and before the care and tendering of your own body, for the which you have cast me into many miseries, and yourself into many cares. For my part, I do pardon you all, yea, I do wish and devoutly pray God that he will also pardon you. For the rest, I commend unto you Mary, our daughter, beseeching you to be a good father unto her, as I heretofore desired. I entreat you also, on behalf of my maids, to give them marriage portions, which is not much, they being but 3. For all my other servants, I solicit a year's pay more than their due, lest they should be unprovided for. Lastly do I vow that mine eyes desire you above all things. Now, I find that so poignant, that last bit. Lastly do I vow that mine eyes desire you above all things. This is a woman that's been treated so badly by Henry VIII. She's been banished from court. She's been separated from their daughter Mary. She's been treated so incredibly cruelly, and yet she still loves him and views him as her husband. So a very, very sad day in 1536, and it's just awful that Henry seems to have been rather happy about it and rejoiced over her death at court. Thank you for joining me today. I'll be back again tomorrow with another On This Day in Tudor History. If you want to make sure that you catch all my videos, you can subscribe below, and please do leave comments. It's so nice to read people's comments about my videos. Anyway, take care. Bye-bye.